because the first part didn't work. Let me know in the chat if this works. If not, it's probably YouTube. I don't know what is going on with it. It basically is just not behaving itself. So let's try this again. Hopefully this works. If not, it's not going to look good. I'm not going to do a Newcastle Liverpool stream tonight just because I don't know what's going on with YouTube. So breaking news. Let's try this again. Breaking news that Rasmus Højlund and Napoli is about to happen. Is going to happen. This is not Indicator making stuff up. This is not Ross Harwood. This is not some of the other people out there. This is not Plettenberg. This is Romano. Romano's come out in the last half an hour, 35 minutes, basically saying that Rasmus Højlund is pretty much done. He's alone with an obligation to buy. Conte's pushing it. Napoli and United do have a full agreement in place. There you are, JB. Exactly, Scott. So we are. I still think that. There's a problem with YouTube. So just hopefully it's all good. So let's try this again, guys. Rasmus Højlund, breaking news. Napoli, pretty much. I think AC Milan was touted around for quite some time. I just don't think they could get the obligation to buy it. Maybe I don't think Rasmus was sold on the project there either. But Napoli, the team that they're assembling together, Lukaku is out now for. Hello, Bobby. Hope you're doing really, really well, my friend. So the fact that is it a loan move or we get cash? So it is a loan up front as well. So I don't know how much loan fee there is, but it is basically a loan with an obligation to buy. So one of the sticking points originally was that Rasmus himself wanted a obligation to buy. And the reasoning for this is because, and I get it, and I admire Rasmus. And again, if you have just joined, breaking news from Fabrizio. It's not a here we go. It's a Napoli, Conte, and Rasmus is on. It's going to get done. It's going to be a here we go really, really soon. Tulip Plays legend of the chat, and it's an obligation to buy. So it basically is. I think it's something like 5-6 million up front. Rasmus Højlund, interestingly enough, is going to get paid more money as well. So they're going to pay him more money. They've come in, they've convinced him of the project. Conte's pushing for him. Lukaku is out as well for a couple of months. Lukaku's pushing 31, I think. So will they buy him? Though Chelsea had 1% chat. I don't think. Again, I don't think we'll know this until next season, but I shouldn't imagine that that's the case. Let's see, because nobody's going to come out and say it. I don't know if that's what we do. I mean, I am just hoping for Rasmus's sake. So this is what I hope really is that Rasmus gets this move and does really, really well. Free would be at United all over again. For me, Rasmus, for all his criticisms, and you can aim some at him, he'll be nothing like those two. I think if there was that silly thing in there again, I think that he'd come back and he'd be looking to move again. I don't think he's going to fail. I don't. I think he suits the Italian league. I think he'll be a very, very good player there. I think the obligations around 40 million, 35, 40 million, that will come out as well. But if you have just joined, obviously don't forget to like, favourite and subscribe, and we'll get in here and we'll give this a chat. And let's go through the Rasmus stuff. Obviously, we'll get like a here we go, and we can probably talk about it a little more then. So Rasmus, for me, 20 years old. I admire what he did. I admire him coming into this club at that age. I thought it was a panic buy deal, to be honest with you. 64 million for a 20-year-old player. Now, people are going to have it up that we paid him 72, 74 million quid. We haven't. 64 million quid. He does need a move though, and his move might do exactly, Scott. I couldn't have said it better. I think Erasmus needs sometimes in life. You may be at the biggest and best job, or have the biggest and best car, or whatever else it is, and for whatever reason it doesn't work, and you can stay there, and you could probably muddle along, but sometimes you just have to move. Napoli is not a lesser club, and I'm not going to disrespect the Italian league. I'm not going to disrespect Napoli because I'm not in a position to, and I wouldn't want to. I just think that Rasmus needs a change of league. I think maybe he could go to the Italian league, and maybe that suits his game. Maybe that suits his style of play. Also, go into that Napoli team, who are a bunch of winners, and they are. They've got De Bruyne in there as well now. They've got Scotty Max in there. He's got so many good players around him. A title-winning side. Good players around him, and I think I think he'll be loved there. I think he'll be adored. I think he will do so many different. I think it'll be such a fresh air for him that I think he won't look back, and I'll be so pleased for him. He does need him. Look at how McTom turned out. Exactly that. So I think he's right. So if you have just joined, breaking news: Scott McTominay. What's this? 2023. Rasmus Højlund to Napoli from Fabrizio Romano. This has come from him. Is that all parties they're happy with the loan and the obligation to buy? There'll be a loan fee involved as well. I think the obligation is going to be around 35 to 40. It could end up being, if you went and scored 20 goals, maybe we get the wrong end of the deal. And as is quite correctly on here been said already, is there that penalty fee again in this deal? This will come out over the next X amount of time. So Rasmus Højlund, for me, I think this is probably the right move for him. I think KDB and Mac behind him, who start. I agree with you. Tulip players, it will be so real. It's nice for Rasmus to start fresh. I'm a United fan, not a Rasmus fan. I wish him well. I'm happy that we'll get some money for him. Can reinvest it. Exactly. And one of the things, again, if you've not been on here before and you go back, one of the things I said, and I won't be a hypocrite on this one. One of the things I said early days was that what big clubs do, and that includes City, Liverpool, etc. Even if you've got a player that you like and he's not doing the job, irrespective of how young he is, big clubs act. So what big clubs do, they go, look, we know you're a good lad. We know you've got potential, but you can't fulfill that potential here. And they go and get rid of that player, even though the fans kind of like that player. And I think, I can't remember, but that was what I need to start doing is clipping up the things that I say, and I really believe that big clubs do it, and now that's what we've done. So your pitching quality is terrible. Let's try and do that. Just give me a second. I might be able to do something. Just give me a second. Let me know if that's better. It might just because I need a light there. So yeah, let me know if that's playing. It's YouTube playing up. It doesn't surprise me. YouTube has been absolutely awful. A bit better, yeah. Apologies. There's not a lot I can really do about that. To be honest with you, it is just total awful tonight. So, and that's why I'm not going to do a watch along tonight, because YouTube has just absolutely smashed me all day today. So Rasmus, for me, I think it's the right move. The fact that now that Fabrizio's come out and saying this, that he's going to go, I definitely think it's the right move. I do wish him well. Croatian Gaming, hey, I'm back. Welcome, my friend. Apologies if the stream is a bit bad. That is purely because of YouTube. It's just not great. So if you have just joined late, Rasmus, Napoli, MS says Italy or France. Emma, I'm not doing this again. Um, feel free to come into the chat, but if you're going to ask the same question over and over again, I promise you I'm not going to answer it. I don't mind it the first time, second time, but Italy or France, I really couldn't care less. I like both countries. Again, I really couldn't care. Scott says, do a watch along for the game. I'll try to, if I've got time. I'll try to, maybe. Let me see. Maybe. I'll see. Yeah, potentially. Let me see what I can do. Yeah, so just really just a quick update. You know, nothing. As I say, wherever I am, whatever I do, even if I'm eating food, what is your OnlyFans? You wish, mate. You absolutely wish I sort of had an OnlyFans. That's ridiculous. Thanks, Scott. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah. You wish, mate. You wish, mate. You absolutely wish it. So, Rasmus, for me, I think great hope when we signed him. Can you eat a sausage roll? I could do. Oh, Scotty, mate, you cracking me up. Cheers, buddy. It's ridiculous, right? So, anyway, exactly what a fool. Anyway, Rasmus Haaland, I think when he first joined, I think you can look back now, and when he first joined, I was of the opinion that I thought got a really good striker. I didn't really see the money. I think Atalanta just did us over, to be honest with you, on the fee, but we panic bought. I don't really think we really understood what the player was, what the potential was, but is it a loan? It is a loan, but with an obligation to buy. So I think the obligation to buy in this case, I think, will mean an obligation to buy. I think that is what this completely means. On this one, I think Rasmus came in. I think we did him dirty. Not us fans. I think us fans stuck with him for the longest of times. I think we actually probably stuck with him a lot longer than we have with other players. He came in leading the line. You know, what was he supposed to do? You know, he came into this toxic club. You know, a Garnacho who's ended up being toxic. You've got, you know, you had Rasmus, Sancho. I think when he came in, you know, so many different, you know, just so many different reasons for him not to do well. You know, the graveyard shift. You know, so many strikers have failed at this club. And what was Rasmus? You know, I don't know another 20-year-old striker, a forward player other than a Rooney, to come into this club at that age and do something. Now, we need to bear in mind that Rooney came into a side for Keane, Giggs, Scholes, you know, Nistelrooy, you know, full of leaders. So Rasmus never had a chance. You know, I think from the start, with hindsight, looking back at that, it was the wrong deal to do for him. I completely understand why he'd want to move here. Completely get it. But I think as a deal, looking back, I think it was probably one of the stupidest deals that we've ever done. Not only have we financially hurt ourselves, if we had a better midfielder, Rasmus Cook, I agree with you, Scott. I think if we had leaders in that team, not Brett, mate, not Brett, mate. Agreed. Agreed. We're getting rid of the trolls. Like, you know, I need to get rid of the bums, the bum squad. I agree with you. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You know, if Rasmus came into any sides other than in the last 13 years, if he went to that side where Van Persie was in, for example, and I'm not saying he would have been a Van Persie, but I think he could have done so much more. But he's come in into the worst. You know, how many players have come into this side and just absolutely destroyed it? You know, you can look at people like Pogba. You know, again, a very divisive player that we let go for 0, come back for a massive wage, let go again for free. Lingard, it's just so, and he's not a dig at necessarily these players, and then Rashford comes through like a Martial, injury prone, and then we just Sanchez, and then we've got so many of these mercenary players, even to the likes of Cristiano came back, and he was so disappointed, and he was so over it, couldn't believe what he saw, that a legend of the club, you could argue you should still be here, just left as well. So Emmy, sorry, but how embarrassing was Bruno yesterday for a pen? He shouldn't be our captain. I agree with you completely, me. I do. I thought Bruno was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever watched from any ever. No matter what the circumstances are, last season was the worst season we've ever had for a striker in my life. I agree with you. I mean, and to that point, I agree with you. Do you watch the Croatian League? I don't, my friend, actually. I really don't. I'd like to start to watch more football because I'm sure there's some absolute gems in the Croatian League. I think with him being 20, he had to hold the weight of being the only. Exactly. I imagine Joaquin or Cantona are doing that exactly. I think Tulip makes a good point as well. I think that even if you're in a poor team and you're a good striker, you put Mbappe into this team. Now, this is going to be an extreme example, probably the worst example, but for example, if you put Mbappe into this team at Rasmus's age, Mbappe's still going to be good. He's still going to have the attributes. He's still going to have the pace. He's still going to score goals. He won't score as many goals. He may not look as good as he did, but he's still going to come in and score goals. Rasmus is not Mbappe. He's not, right? If you put Yamal in this team, I know it's a different position, and we still weren't playing well, Yamal will come into this team and he'll make it better, and he'll use his attributes again to make it better. We were sort of expecting Rasmus to, with no context, to sort of do that as well. Not as fans, but the club were expecting him. Don't know what they were expecting, but almost expecting him to do that. And we didn't play to his strengths. I couldn't tell you what his strengths are. He works hard, but he's not particularly quick. He's quick across the ground, but he's the ball doesn't stick to his feet. He is the sort of developmental striker that you play with another striker. He reminds me of a Gyökeres, and what I mean by that is that I've started watching the Brazilian league. Yeah, exactly. I think that's good league. Mosquito says Manu should be starting ahead of Bruno, just to be interested. I couldn't agree more. I think of you want a hidden gem. I agree with you. So Rasmus reminds me, we quit South America after Sanchez. I agree with you. So where I think Rasmus reminds me of like a Gyökeres, and what I mean by that is that when he's 27, he could be 26. He'll come into his prime, playing for the right team. He could be that player, right? But he needs to learn his trade. He needs to go to a team where he can look at Harry Kane, right? And I'm not trying to say he's going to be the next Kane, and I'm not trying to say he's even that. But you look at Harry Kane. He went on loans to, I can't even remember, but he went on a couple of loans. He was told was that Spurs or Arsenal that he was no good. He went out there. He went on loans. He applied his trade. He went to the Championship, League One, I think as well. And he came back and he was ready because he'd been out there. He played proper games with more touches of the ball, and that's what Rasmus needs. Rasmus needs games where he's going to get the ball more than 3 or 4 times a game, and he's going to get the ball maybe 10 times a game, and he's going to have a couple of shots. Every single shot or touch that he has to fight for it. And the problem is that when every single pass to you is a pressure, a lot of forwards that have played for this club can't handle that pressure. So when you maybe only get a single chance, Gyökeres, he proved that when he's awful, he's been awful, but he still scored 2 goals. That goal that he scored, that's what you do when you're an experienced striker and you've been in that situation time after time after time and you score a goal. Rasmus needs that. Rasmus needs to go away to Napoli. He needs to go away. He needs to learn pretty much again from scratch, without the pressure, play free. And I think that's what's going to happen for him. I think he'll go to Napoli. He might have a couple of bad games. I think once he knows he's going to get those chances and those that the plays around him can feed him with no agenda, he's going to get the chances. I think will be fantastic. And I really genuinely hope it. So if you have just joined, don't forget to like, favourite, subscribe, get into this amazing chat. Breaking news: Rasmus to Napoli. Conte's pushing this deal. This is going to get done. A loan fee up front and an obligation to buy for about, I think, 35 to 40 million. That will come out as well. Rasmus is going to earn more money there as well. He's going to go to the Champions League football. I could. It's not often that when a player leaves this club, irrespective of how he plays, I want him to do well, and I will be watching Rasmus play and hoping that he does well and scores. So I really got a lot of time for him, and I really hope that he does well. And he says, also, I feel Rubin will get sacked this season. He won't change formation in game. When we're struggling, we need to have a B. I think there's a lot of people who are all over the place with this, reactionary after the Arsenal game, reactionary after the Fulham game. I don't blame people for having their opinions. I'm not going to defend him to people that want him sacked. I'm not gonna argue with that. My opinion is going to be this: I've seen so many people sacked, so many managers sacked, and his form right now is relegation form. That can't be argued. But he needs time. He needs time and he needs players. Tactically, he needs to switch. He needs to change. What is going to sack him is his stubbornness with this particular system. It could do like a hybrid system, in my opinion. But what's going to sack him ultimately is his persistence with Fernandes, with Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, not switching this system up a little bit. And I think for me, that is what's going to be the killer to him. Now, I don't want him to. I really hope that's not the case. I hope he can find a way through this juncture in his career. He'll learn a lot about himself. He'll learn a lot about these players. I just really hope that he can see through this for what it is, do something with Fernandes, and he now has to coach. 100% sort of has to coach. So this is just going to be a quick one, guys. I might jump on and do a quick stream. I don't know, for the game tonight. I'll just see what's going on indoors, and I might come onto it a little bit late. I don't know. Let's see. But yeah, it's just a really quick one about Hoyland tonight. I'm really pleased for him. I'll come back on and break it when it becomes official. Obviously, if anything else does become official, I'll jump on and break that as well. Anthony, a little bit on that. So Betis are still trying to get this deal done. There's a loan and stuff out there, and I just think it's a complete waste of time right now. But they are trying to get this deal done. Lemens is going to come in as well, so we'll see that as well. So yeah, if anything does break, I will jump back on. Just a really quick one, just to let you guys know about the breaking news from Fabrizio that Rasmus Højlund, Conte, Napoli are all in agreement. We're going to get this deal done in the next couple of days. Expect here we go. And may jump back on very shortly. I'll see what's going on. If not, I will see you very soon. I might see you this evening, maybe. See what's going on. If not, have a good rest of your evening, day, morning, whatever you do. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very. Take care, and see you on the next one.